Hi everyone, so this is our second live. We did a live like 2 weeks ago, and people said that they wanted us to do more. They wanted us to answer their questions live. So we're going to try to make this a regular thing. So if you guys have any questions related to university, applications, scholarships, feel free to start asking, and we'll be here to answer any of your questions. Also, we had some technical difficulties, which is why we started a bit late, but any questions? Could you go through the application process step by step? Sure. Would you like me to go through the college application process or university application process? University? Okay, sure. I actually drew a graphic earlier because I knew questions like these would come up, so let me just pull it up. Okay, so if you want to imagine that this is your grade 12 school year, I'm going to point out some key dates to you as part of the application process. And yeah, if you have any questions, I'll answer them. But basically, let's imagine this is your grade 12 school year. From October to November, you'll receive something called an Ouck pin. That's October to November. And so basically what this is, it's your unique number that belongs to Ouck. And Ouck is a university application software. So you're going to log into Ouck, make an account there, and then basically you can start applying to universities. There are a couple rules though that you should keep in mind. You can only apply to 3 programs per university. And you have to rank your program. So for example, let's say your top program is Waterloo Eng or something. So you rank your programs. And also another important thing to keep in mind. So you have to apply to a minimum of 3 programs, and that's $150. And then for any additional program, you have to, it's $50 additional for any additional program. So let's say I apply to 10 programs, that's going to be $500. Okay, so then you apply through Ouck, ideally somewhere from October to Christmas break. That's the ideal time to apply. And then there are usually 3 big rounds for schools. That's December, March, and May, where they will give out offers. But some schools do it differently. It depends on the school. If you want, you can share what schools you're interested in applying to, and I can tell you. Because, for example, Western usually just gives out a lot of offers during those 3 big rounds, whereas schools like Queens give out offers every week on Wednesdays. So yeah, I hope that clears it up. And you can receive an offer anytime from November to May. Okay, let's see the next question. Can I make it to university with a 60 to 75? Yes, you can. Obviously, it really depends on which programs you're applying to and where you're applying, but you can get accepted into university with a 60 to 75. Again, it just depends on the program. How can I learn more about scholarships? So we actually, on our website, if you go onto our TikTok bio right now and you click the link in our bio, and you scroll down, there's something called scholarship resources. And if you click that, we have a scholarship guide where we interviewed top scholarship winners. And we also share scholarship databases where you can find hundreds of scholarships to apply to that are very specific for your interest. For example, if you're interested in knitting, there's knitting scholarships. So yeah. What about U of T? In terms of the application process? U of T, so generally for U of T, there's 3 campuses. Let me scroll down so I can write this for you guys. So you have U of T, and then you have UTCS, SC, my bad. That's Scarborough campus. You have UTM, which is the Mississauga campus. And then you have the U of T St. George campus, which is the main one in Toronto. But either way, whichever one you go to, at the end of the day, it says U of T on your diploma. So you get the prestige of going to U of T. So yeah, but if you live in Mississauga and want to live closer to home, UTM is a great option. And UTS is great for if you live in Scarborough. Oh, and for U of T, in terms of when they give out offers, I believe it's on a rolling basis. But most schools, they give out the most offers, big amount of offers in December, December, March, and May. Like, regardless of what school, like they might give out like what, 3 offer, or sorry, like, I don't know, depending on the program, maybe like 15 here, and then maybe like 100 in December. So December, March, and May are the big rounds, you know? Okay, let's see the next question. When would McMaster give them out? Again, depends on the program. So let's say we're talking about McMaster Health Sciences. They only have 1 round, and they give out all of their acceptances in May. So for Mac Health Sci, it's like all of the rounds are just on 1 day in May, because it is quite a competitive program. Waterloo and Laurier, it's also rolling. So you could get them practically anytime. Like, for some universities, they only give it out on certain days, but for Waterloo and Laurier, it's rolling. And again, they have those big rounds in December, March, and May. Nursing, what would be the best university? Nursing programs are great regardless of where you go, because, you're learning nursing. But some big universities that are like well known for their nursing programs are McMaster. York has a really great nursing program. And as well as Queens also has a great nursing program. But regardless, like, we have, if you are interested in learning more about nursing programs, we have a bunch on our website. So if you go to the link in our TikTok bio, you can go onto our website, and we've interviewed a bunch of nursing students, because I'm not sure if you guys knew this, but the amount of people who applied to nursing schools in the last year doubled. So the competition, like, it was very competitive last year. And even some really talented candidates couldn't get into nursing school. This is not to scare you guys, not to freak you out, but like, we always recommend for students, like, reach out to their resources and like connect with people who are in those programs, so you can kind of get an insight on what the school environment and the environment within the actual program is like. Is first semester midterm important? Yes. Well, if you think about it in terms of the timeline, up until this point, like, schools don't really have any grade 12 marks. And so let's see, your first semester is from September all the way to January, right? And then second semester, Feb to June. So those midterm marks are going to come right before that big round in December. But again, even if you don't do so well in the midterms, if you manage to bring them up, right, like in time for February, then you can also get an offer in March. You can also get an offer in May. So that's not to discourage you, but we always recommend for students to try their hardest in grade 12, especially first semester. That matters a lot. If I'd have to say, like, which semester matters more, semester 1 or semester 2, it's gonna be semester 1. Because again, like, those grades will kind of determine your offers for December and March. And then by then you will probably have received an offer, and then you just have to maintain a conditional average. Okay, let's see the next question. How should I start preparing for university in grade 11? I would recommend for you to start like planning out exactly which programs and like which direction you're going in. We have a spreadsheet where it's a really comprehensive spreadsheet where you can list like the tuition price, you can list how far it is away from home, and you can kind of start to plan, like, for example, like what prerequisites are needed, what is the cutoff average. So you should really start to think about those things and plan ahead of time so you can kind of see how you need to prepare yourself. Like, for example, does the programs you want to apply to, do they need a sub-app? And if they do need a sub-app, is the sub-app asking about extracurriculars? If it's asking about extracurriculars, maybe you can start getting involved in more clubs and that kind of thing. But yeah, regardless, you should always start preparing early. Like, we always tell students to prepare, because that's the best thing you can do to set yourself up for success, is just to know, like what's going on, what your goals are, and so you can plan ahead and, do your best. Okay, I submitted my application for the engineering program at U of T and U Waterloo on October 23rd. When should I submit my sub-app? Oh, so for U Waterloo, they usually make you fill out the AIF, and U of T, they also have their own sub-app. So typically, we recommend that students submit them earlier just so they have more time to get those offers. But with Waterloo Engineering, with U of T Engineering, they're very competitive programs. So we would generally recommend to like simultaneously like take your time to really think through those questions and create like meaningful answers. But also you don't want to be submitting it the last week or like a day before, because you never know what technical issues you can run into. And especially like with their login portals, they tend to be very glitchy. And, you know, I've known students who have waited till the last second to submit and like the portal glitched or logged them out or something went wrong and they just weren't able to, and they lost out on that opportunity. So definitely do not submit like the day before. Do you know when Max Social Sciences would send offers? Max Social Sciences is on a rolling basis. So you can get an offer like anytime throughout. Like they don't have like a specific date where they give out offers. It's rolling. So anytime from when you apply to May, you can expect to receive an offer. Does For You English matter, and what average should I have? So yes, For You English matters. For the majority of programs, like For You English is always a requirement. Like the majority of programs, they'll have For You English. Let me just write that. And then they might have like other things, or they'll have like plus like other 5 other like university or mixed level courses. But English For You is typically always a requirement for university. So it is quite an important course for you to do well in. Good engineering programs. In Ontario, every engineering program, like every program has its strengths and has like a different culture that might fit different people. And like what really matters also is the school culture. Like, are you a party person or are you more of an introvert? Like that really matters. And also the campus. So, you know, it's hard to distinguish what a good engineering program is for you, but I can tell you the most popular ones in Ontario. The most popular engineering program in Ontario is Waterloo, followed by U of T. Those are the 2 most popular engineering programs. Not to say that the other programs are not good programs. The other programs like Queen's Engineering, Western Engineering, they're all good programs. But I would say Waterloo is the most popular engineering program in Ontario. And again, popular also means that it is very competitive. I believe their average for incoming students was around a 95. But if you guys want resources for Waterloo Engineering, we have a whole curated document. So you can go on our TikTok, click the link in our bio, and we created this free document that has just a bunch of resources on like the previous statistics of students who got in, or I believe we also had like other recommendations for the AIF. So yeah, I would recommend you check that out. When is the best time to apply for uni? Like, should I start now? If you're in grade 12, I definitely recommend you start now. You don't, starting early is always best, because then you can know, like, what you have ahead of you and if you have to fill out any sub-apps. Or, like, for example, sometimes they require you to send in some documents. Like, let's say you are an immigrant. They might request a proof of citizenship. Like, you just have to scan your passport and send it in. So I would definitely recommend you get started early. But generally, most people submit their OUAC prior to the winter break. So your like latest winter break. But yeah, I believe there is a deadline to apply to OUAC. I think it's around January 15th. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I definitely recommend applying before the deadline, just because you'll have like more opportunities to get acceptances. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with early acceptance. If not, I can go over what that is. But if the earlier you apply, the more chances, like the more weeks that they'll be considering your application, and like thus the better chances you have. Let's see. For nursing, there is a Casper test. Yes, the Casper test. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, so anyone applying to nursing, you do have to take a Casper test. And if you want more advice on the Casper test, I actually know a YouTuber who I believe did a breakdown of it, and I believe they've changed the Casper test this year. So it's not the usual thing. They've broken it down into 3 different like testing schemes because they wanted to change it up and make something new. But if you want more details on that, I'd recommend you check out this YouTuber called NextGen MD. He talks about the Casper, and he explained it really well, and he also provided his advice, so I would recommend checking him out. Is it true they only look at top 6? Yeah, that's true. Like, once you have, like, for example, right now, you don't have 6 grade 12 marks in, you're only in semester 1, so they might look at grade 11 marks, but once you have your 6 top marks in, they will only look at those. Like, they won't look at grade 11 at that point once they have your grade 12 marks. But for right now, you guys are in semester 1. I'm not sure if you've received your midterms yet. You probably haven't. So if universities offer you like offers, which usually they don't, like I said, the big 3 months for offers is December, March, and May. But if you do receive any offers between November to December, they'll be based off of your grade 11 marks. Oh yeah, and I'd like to just take like 1 second to recommend you guys to check out our Discord server. We have over 900 people on there currently, grade 11s, 12s. We have a bunch of people from universities. We have, people from Queen's Commerce. We have, people from a variety of different universities, York, Carleton, Ryerson. They're all on there just to give you guys advice. So if you go to our bio, you can join our Discord server. And yeah, we also have a bunch of resources on there. What's the verdict on private school? So if you're talking about the like online Ontario private school thing, some universities care about it and some universities don't. I believe Waterloo is one of those universities who cares about summer school or private schools. So I believe on the AIF, they might ask you why you took a course in summer school or why you took a course on like as part of like a private school thing. But yeah, I would just make sure to look into the specific universities and their policies because it really just varies, So I would definitely recommend. And also, if you guys are ever unsure about a specific university's policies, I would strongly suggest you reach out to their admissions team. They usually get back very quick, like within a week, and they will like have the most accurate and the most updated. Like you never want to be unsure about something and, take the risk. So I would definitely recommend you find their admission email. And if you want to know where to find that, like on our Discord, we have a bunch of channels with different universities with their like admissions email. So you can check that out too. What app are you using right now? Oh, so to do the notes, I'm using GoodNotes. And if any of you guys are heading into university, I would definitely recommend it depends on your learning style, but for me, what has worked best is switching into taking my notes online just because it's way faster and it makes it more efficient. And also in university, it's faster. Like instead of having a 10-month school year, we have an 8-month school year. And so it's like 2 semesters, 4 months each, and we cover a lot of content very quickly. So it's very efficient to have this and be able to like pull up your lecture slides next to your notes and take notes simultaneously. So when does Mac Social Science give offers? It's rolling. Like there's no specific date, but anywhere from the time you apply around like November to May, it's rolling. You could expect to get an offer anytime between them. They don't have like a specific date, but the 3 biggest rounds will be in December, March, and May. Would a 90% average be considered competitive for nursing? So it just depends on the student. So for example, like last year, due to online school, the grades were really inflated just because, as you guys might imagine, there was a lot of like cheating and collaborating on tests. So the grades were really inflated, and also, addition to that, double the students applied to nursing. So there was quite a lot of people applying to nursing, and so it was quite competitive. I would ask, like, if you know anyone who got into nursing last year, what their average was. And at the same time, most of you guys are back in school now. So the mark inflation shouldn't be as bad as it was for the last 2 years. So again, I would just recommend you try your best to get from the low 90 to a high 90 range. for nursing. Best programs for marketing in Ontario. So marketing would kind of be considered part of like the commerce. Like within commerce, you can, which is like just a general like business degree, or like, sorry, they call it like Bachelor of Commerce. So best commerce programs or best business programs, because then from there you can go into marketing or finance or whatever, would be the big three, they call it. So the big three are Queen's Commerce, QCom, Western Ivy, Western BMOS and Ivy. And the last one is York Schulich. But again, there's also a lot of other reputable schools. These are just like the typical big three that people consider the best programs in Ontario. But also honorable mention is Rotman Commerce. I mean, it all depends on if you personally like the environment of that school, but Rotman Commerce is also a great business program. Yeah, a lot of people, someone was asking, like, have people applied yet? Like, what's going on? Most people get their applications done in winter break, so don't stress out if you haven't. I believe the deadline to submit your OUAC application is Jan 15th or something like that, but the earlier the better. Is it true that this year is first come, first serve for unis? No. In fact, I would say, like, having gone through COVID-19, like admission cycles twice through COVID-19, universities have adapted their admission schemes a lot more. So they know what to account for, and they know like how to find, like they know, like they know how to, the averages, and like how to arrange their cutoff scheme and that kind of thing. January 13th. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so it's usually around January 15th, but this year the deadline to apply on OUAC is January 13th, 2022. So make sure to get it in before that. Yeah, you don't want to be applying on the last day. That OUAC portal, so unreliable. It will like break down, or who knows what else. You don't want to be stuck applying on the last day and just not be able to make it just because of the OUAC portal. What do we need for engineering? It depends on the program, but usually most programs, the requirement is ENG4U is the first requirement. And for engineering, I'd imagine you have to take math courses. Again, like I would look into your specific programs. If your school does My Blueprint, that's also a good resource to look in. Yeah, because of COVID, they do look at grade 11 marks, sure. When do we get information for SUP-APPs, specifically SOLAS? Okay, so you're using SOLAS, so I assume you're applying to Queen's University. And so for Queen's University, they only need SUP-APPs for a small number of programs. So that's commerce, health sci, nursing, and then visual arts, or music, I believe. Those are the 5 programs that require SUP-APPs. And so for commerce and health sci, they both have the same SUP-APP. It's called the SE, the Supplementary Essay. And how that works is every month they release 3 questions. And from those 3 questions, you pick 2 and you answer them. And you only have to do this for 1 month. So if you see these month's questions, November's questions, by the way, they're out. You can check them out. If you see these month's questions and you're like, I don't know, like I don't feel like I can answer them that well, like I don't know about that, that's fine. You can wait till next month. And then you can answer 2 out of those 3. And I believe they are 2,000 characters per answer. But yeah. Let's see. When does early acceptance start? Okay, yeah, let me explain early acceptance, because I anticipated we might have questions like this, and I feel like it's really quite confusing if you don't know what it is. So I think we should just go through it and kind of clarify. Okay, so let me just prepare the graphic so I can show you guys. Okay, so imagine that this is your grade 12 school year from September to June. So you guys likely got your OUAC pins sometime between October and November. That's your OUAC pins. So from there you can apply. And the 3 big rounds of acceptance are in December, March, and May. And early acceptance generally means like any round that would consider grade 11 marks. So for example, here in semester 1, you guys are taking how many, like 4 courses per semester? 4 courses, or depending on if you have spares. So obviously they're not going to have all of your grade 12 marks. Like up until like the middle of November, they're not going to have any grade 12 marks from you. So if you get accepted from this period to this period, they're only considering grade 11 marks. And then they'll get your midterm marks and they'll take those into consideration. But at the same time, they don't have all of your like marks for your entire grade 12 course. So of course, like let's say, for example, you have ENG for you in second semester. Okay, you're taking ENG for you in second semester. But your program requires ENG for you. So from here until whenever you get your midterm second semester, they're going to be considering ENG 3U as a predictor of your ENG 4U mark. But whenever you get your, let's say you get all of your grade 12 marks, they're no longer going to consider your grade 11 marks. It's just as a predictor or a supplementary until they get those grade 12 marks. And so early acceptance basically just means any acceptance that occurs from around November to like February. That's considered like early acceptance. But even if you didn't do so well in grade 11, like don't stress out. It's not the end of the world. Just try to do your best in grade 12. And in those later rounds when they're only considering grade 12 marks, you're going to have a better chance of getting accepted. And there's 2 big rounds here. There's March and May. So don't stress yourself out too much. Let's see. There's a lot of questions. I want to get to everyone. Let's see. How do we get an Ouck account from outside of Ontario? So you can sign up for Ouck. I would recommend talking to your guidance counselor because they can set that up for you. The main difference, so you are going to be, if you're in Ontario, you guys are going to be applying through the 101 application. If you're outside of Ontario or you're a mature student, it's going to be 105. So make sure you're applying to the Ouck 105 application. And the main difference is that you have to send in your transcripts manually. Like your school usually doesn't upload the grades for you. So I'd recommend talking to your guidance counselor because they can get you started on the 105 application. And usually the 105 application has earlier deadlines than 101. So I'd recommend getting started on that as soon as possible. Can you apply to UBC through Ouck? No. So Ouck stands for the Ontario University. I forget the entire thing, but it's only Ontario. Is engineering hard to get into? Relatively, yes. It is hard to get into, especially if you're applying to some of the really competitive engineering programs like U Waterloo or U of T. Even Queens and Western are relatively competitive. So if you want to know, like, for example, if you're interested in Waterloo, we have a bunch of resources. If you click the link tree in our bio on like what the stats are for previous students. And also keep in mind that U Waterloo has an adjustment factor. And if you want, I can talk more about what that adjustment factor means, but basically it means they adjust for any inflation at your school. My uni requirements, like my required courses, are all in the second semester. Does it have an impact on my application? So yeah, like I said before, let's say, for example, one of your university requirements is ENG for you and you're taking it in second semester. This means that from like this date around November until midterm second semester, they're just going to be considering ENG 3U because that's the only grade they have available to them. That's like a proxy for ENG 4U. It's a predictor. But if you did well in grade 11, you don't have anything to worry about. And even if you didn't do well in grade 11, not the end of the world because you still have this big round in May to look forward to. So yeah. Do you think I should pursue French in university if I'm French immersion? Yeah, sure. If you have electives, like if you have space to take electives in university, I recommend taking what you're passionate about and what's fun because usually your programs, like courses will be very rigorous and tough. And so taking a course that you are very passionate about is great. And also, usually first year French is very simple. Like, it's a review of grade 11. From the people I know who have taken it, they said it's really easy, and it's like almost like a review of grade 11 and grade 12 French. So I would, yes, recommend it. How can we access this month's questions for Solus? They're on Solus now. Yeah, you should see it. Like, if you scroll to the bottom of your Solus page, there should be something on the side that says Supplementary Essay. And if you click that, it'll take you to the questions. Will they consider grade 12 midterm marks? Yeah, they will. Like, until you have those final marks, those are the only grade 12 marks they have available to them. So they will consider grade 12 midterm marks. Especially, like, I would say the most important marks for university admissions would be, I'll create a new page here, would be first semester final marks, and also second semester midterm marks. Those are typically the most important marks to focus on. So someone's asking again about the Solus questions. So have you made your Solus account? If you've made your Solus account and you're able to log in there, you should scroll down to the bottom, and at the bottom it's going to say something like your applications, and it's going to say the programs you've applied to. And then on the side it has like a bunch of like links, and one of those links says Supplementary Essay, and you can just click it and it'll take you there. So for calculus, they'll see my grade 11 math and my final mark for advanced functions. That's a great question, actually, because different universities calculate it differently. Some universities, because calculus and vectors is a second semester course, whereas advanced functions is a first semester course. So some universities, what they'll do is they'll take, if they require both advanced functions and calculus, but calculus is in second semester, they'll take your grade 11 functions and they'll take advanced functions to calculate that math mark. Whereas some universities, they'll just take the advanced functions mark and multiply it by 2 to get those 2 marks, as like until you get your calculus and vectors mark, if that makes sense. Can you explain the adjustment factor more? Oh yeah, so like I said before, so basically Waterloo has this weird thing where for engineering, like, here, let me give you like a situation to kind of make it easier to visualize. So let's say let's say you go to Waterloo High School. I don't know, some random high school. Okay. And let's say some people from your high school went to Waterloo Engineering. So what Waterloo does is they basically see like what their admissions average was. So let's say the people who got in, they had a 97 average and they got into Waterloo Engineering. And then they'll see how much their average dropped to after first year. So let's say their average dropped to a 79. Or let's say their average dropped to, an 80. Okay? And they'll see the difference between that. They'll be like, oh, well, their average was a 97 high school, but it's only an 80 here. So that's a 17, oh my gosh, math. That's a 17% difference. And so basically they take the average for how much the difference is for people at your school, and that's your school's adjustment factor. So some schools, for example, have a really bad inflation rate. Like they'll have I think the largest one is 20% inflation rate, and they'll adjust for that. So let's say you're a person in high school, and let's say you have a 95% average, but your school's adjustment rate is a 6%. Your 95% by Waterloo Engineering is considered an 89%. And if you want to see your school's adjustment factor, you can go to the link in our bio, scroll down, we have something called the UW Engineering Resources, and you can see the adjustment factors for the schools. In Ontario, do grades matter more than extracurriculars? Yes. The majority of programs in Ontario don't require a sup-app, and if they do require a sup-app, some of them don't even talk about extracurriculars. So grades matter way more than extracurriculars. That's not to say that extracurriculars don't matter at all. Again, it just depends on your program. Like, for example, like the vast majority of social sciences program don't require a sup-app at all. Like, you will not have to do a sup-app at all. So in that case, extracurriculars do not matter. But like, for example, like engineering, That requires a sup app, and often you will have to talk about extracurriculars. So extracurriculars and marks matter in that case. Do universities care if you take family studies courses because they're easy but still U level? They don't care as long as you fill the prereqs. Like, let's say their prereqs is just ENG4U and then like 5 other U/M courses. It doesn't matter what the other 5 are, just as long as you fill that requirement. Do we have to make a Solus account? My counselor said they'd email us, but I haven't gotten anything. Yeah, so we have a great video about this on our TikTok, actually. It's pinned at the top. It's what happens after you submit your OUAC application, but I'll give you a brief rundown here. So basically, you submit your OUAC application, and within 2 to 3 weeks, your universities will email you with an email that basically says, thank you for applying. Now, please make an account with our login portal. So you'll have to make an account, and then once you make an account, you can access their sup app and you can access anything else. But yeah, you should receive it within 2 to 3 weeks. Solus is like the Queen's like login portal. Do unis send out offers in November or do they start in December? Yeah, some universities do send out offers in November, but like I said, like the biggest offers will come out in December, March, and May, but some do send in November. Will you do another live? Because I was so late. Yeah, this is our second live. Our first live was really successful, and a lot of people said they wanted us to do more, so we are planning on doing more. So yeah, if you guys want to keep updated with when we're doing our lives, feel free to follow us on TikTok and on Instagram, because we will post on there about when we're doing our lives. Does Queens do adjustment factors? Not to my knowledge, no. What schools have adjustment factors? The main one that has or at least the main one that is public about their adjustment factor is U Waterloo Eng. The rest may or may not, like they keep it very private, but the main one that is very public about their adjustment factor is Waterloo Eng because it's very competitive. Do I have to take math in grade 12? You don't have to take math in grade 12. It just depends on your university's prerequisites. So if you want to check out like what the prerequisites are, I would recommend going on My Blueprint, and then you can search up the programs you're interested in and their prerequisites. Where can you see the adjustment factors? Oh yeah, so if you go to our TikTok and click the link in our bio, we have a bunch of links there, but then one of the links is called U Waterloo Eng Resources, and then that's where you can find it. Is applying in December too late? It's not too late. Again, we just recommend applying before or during winter break, but the earlier you apply, the better, because again, most programs, well, it depends on the program, but most programs have rolling admission, so they might be giving out offers every single week. So I know in my experience, I applied early and I got the majority of my offers between November to Jan. Let's see, I'm just trying to get to all the questions. For engineering supplementary applications, I have 15 extracurriculars, 4 of which I'm an exec for, a job, and assistant swimming instructor. Wow. First of all, I have to commend you because you're doing a lot, and I can tell that, you know, you're a really ambitious student. Would you say that that's competitive for U Waterloo and U of T? It just depends on how you like talk about them, you know, like usually what we recommend students to do is to use the STAR method, because oftentimes we find that like students in their supplementary essay, like the most important thing is to be concise. It's to make sure that every like sentence or statement is impactful. Like, how does this tell the admissions committee that you are the best fit for that program? Like, without you know, like, just be concise. Don't fluff, like, you don't need to fluff it up. You don't need to add in extra words, like, because usually most of them have very limited word counts. And so if you guys are interested in how, like, a great way to structure your supplementary applications, I would recommend you search up the STAR method, because it's usually very successful and very applicable. And it's a great way to like talk about like your extracurriculars and like why you chose to do them. If we want to go to grad school, should we attend the same school for undergrad or no? It depends on you. Like, I'll give you an example. You don't have to, let's say you are aiming to go to medical school, okay? Medical school has like certain prereqs, they have certain prereqs. So for example, Ottawa, you have to take organic chemistry, whatever, or you have to take certain courses. As long as you can fill those prerequisites, it doesn't matter what your major is. So for example, like at McMaster, one of my friends did music and she got into McMaster Medical School. So it doesn't matter necessarily what your major is, although it might be helpful to do like a health sci or life sci program, just because you will be fulfilling those prereqs much easier, because it's usually like a course that you take in your program anyways. And also it might better prepare you for things like the MCAT or other stuff like that. Like if you want to be a pharmacist, I think it's like PCAT or something like that. And then if you want to be a dentist, it's the DAT. But taking those courses are mainly just helpful for fulfilling the prereqs, like getting involved in like health related clubs or something, and also just preparing you for those admission tests. But it's not necessarily like, there's some people who, for example, do engineering for their undergrad and then apply to medical school, or so it's not mandatory to do a health sci or life sci related to get into med school, but it's helpful for other reasons. And if you're passionate about it, go for it, you know? What's more important, your major or your type of degree? Well, once you apply to a program, let's say you apply to Queen's Commerce, from there you can choose your major. Like most people choose to, get into finance from Queen's Commerce. You can also choose to go into marketing. And at the end of the day, you get a BCom. And you can also do like majors or minors. So if you're passionate about marketing, you can apply to Queen's Commerce and then specialize into marketing. Especially for like business related degrees, you can go into a number of things: finance, marketing, human resources. Why do they do adjustment factors again? Some schools really inflate the grades. So for example, I forget the name of the school. If you want to see the specific name, you can go to the link in our bio. But there was one school that like inflated their students' grades by 20%. I don't know why. But like, for example, a student who has like a 90% should actually be getting a 70%. Because some schools just do that, I don't know. So they track it based on like what's the difference between your admission grade and then like what's the difference of your average like after your first year. So let's say it drops to a 70, that's an adjustment factor of 20%. Universities are so much harder to get into now than when I first applied. Oh yeah, definitely, I agree for sure. There's more supplementary applications, there's more cheating, which leads to inflated marks. There's just a whole like number of factors that goes into it, and also just more applicants applying to very competitive programs. So yeah. My top 3 schools are U of T, Western, and Queen's. Which would you recommend for political science? So a big thing to take into consideration is the environment of the school. Like, are you going to be happy learning there? Is this an environment where you are going to thrive? Because it really does vary. So I would recommend, if you could, do a campus tour. They're running campus tours in person now. I know for Western and Queen's, they're doing that. So I would recommend taking a campus tour and really getting to know the school environment. I would also recommend, if you guys are in grade 11 or 12, I would highly suggest making a LinkedIn. It's very useful to reach out to people in that program and really get to know what it's like from their perspective, because it's one thing to read it on the program's website, and it's another thing to really get to know it from a student's perspective. Like, for example, if I was considering these 3 programs and then I reached out to people in each of the programs, one person might tell me that, the people are very competitive and it's very toxic. So hell no, I don't want to go there. I might reach out to another person and they tell me like the food is very bad here, or the res is bad, or there's so many factors to consider, and that would help me to kind of eliminate that. But let's say there's one school, and talk to multiple people. Obviously everyone's going to have their own opinion, but there's generally a consensus among students. So from there you'll find a school that's great for you. And also we have a resource called our program decision matrix. We usually release it in mid-November. But if you guys want, we can release it earlier. And it's a spreadsheet that has all these factors to consider, like food, res, proximity to home, how are you going to get there, transportation. And it just basically is like a scoring sheet. So you put in the score, like let's say, let's say you rate their food like a 3, and then you rate their res like a 2, whatever. And then it adds everything up, and it kind of like helps you to make your decision and like logically see which one is the best fit for you. Like you can even take into consideration the environment. Like, is it a party school? Like, what's the student life like? And yeah. Let's see. Would it matter if you did online or in person? No. So because it's still COVID-19, like there are so many circumstances that may impact a person's ability to go in school. Like whether that's if they're able to take the vaccine or not. Like let's say someone has, an autoimmune disease and they're not able to take the vaccine. That affects that. And like, let's say, for example, someone is living with a lot of at-risk people at home, so they chose to do online. Universities can't discriminate based on that basis. So they have to treat both online and in-person students equally. Although, yeah, you should also definitely always contact them by email to get the admissions. Like the admissions emails are probably the most accurate resource for information. And if you want, on our Discord server, we list all of the admissions contact info. So you can go to the link in our bio and join our Discord server. And we have all the admissions emails for each universities. Okay, so we're going to be wrapping up the live in 8 minutes. So if you have any last minute questions, just let me know. And also let us know if you'd like us to do a live again. This is our second live. We plan on doing them bi-weekly or weekly if you guys want. But yeah. If I want to go into political science, should I take math and science in grade 12? Again, we would just recommend looking at your university's prerequisites. So I believe for most poli-sci programs, it's just ENG4U plus 5 other U/M courses. And for those 5, it doesn't matter what those 5 are. Like, it could be family studies, it could be anything that fulfills that U/M course requirement, and they won't discriminate based on what it is. So you don't have to take harder courses to get a leg up, because it won't necessarily give you a leg up, because it might be it might be harder to get a better average in those courses. So again, just depends on your prereqs. Search them up on their university websites and My Blueprint. Let's see. Let's see, I'm just trying to get to all the questions, make sure I got to them. Are grade 11 marks important? Well, I would definitely recommend trying your best and doing well in grade 11, because not only will that prepare you for grade 12, but also if we go back to the calendar, where was it? Schools will only start receiving any grade 12 grades in the middle of November. And by then, they'll only have 4 grades or 3 grades, depending on if you have a spare. So they need your top 6. So where are they going to get the other, let's say you took 4 courses, where are they going to get the other 2 to consider? They're going to get them from your grade 11 marks based on what prereqs you didn't take in first semester. So again, like I said, let's say you have ENG4U in second semester, then they might consider ENG3U for that first half of the year. So yeah. What do you think of U Ottawa? U Ottawa is a great school. I know a popular program at U Ottawa is their Telfer, School of Management. If you're into accounting, they have a great school there. They also have a strong, I believe it's biomedical sciences. We have a bunch of interviews from students who go to U Ottawa. So if you want to hear directly from them, I would recommend going to our website. We interviewed them and we asked them basically like, what's your opinion on the res there? What's your opinion on the student life? Do you have any advice for students who want to apply to your program? But U Ottawa is a great school. And for political science, again, we recommend checking the prereqs directly on the website or on My Blueprint, but usually the website is more accurate and up to date. So go to the university's website and check. Does co-op count as a university credit? No, it does not. I believe co-op, I forget what the course code is, but I think it's either like a college credit or an open credit, which in that case would not satisfy the U/M course. Do you have to submit all OUAC applications at once? Yeah, so once you click submit, all the like schools that you picked and ranked, they all go through to OUAC. But remember that you can make amendments. Like, for example, let's say you only applied to 5 programs, but now you're interested in the 6th program and you want to apply. You can change it, but I believe there's a fee. I think it's maybe $50 or something, but you can change it. But we recommend just finalizing your list now so you don't miss any deadlines or any important information. I do practice, but application and thinking questions bring my mark down. I get that. Thinking questions were always so difficult, and sometimes it can be very abstract, and you really have to apply the knowledge that you learned. What really helped me is finding resources like previous tests. I used to do a bunch of previous tests because it would show me what like other thinking questions might be. So if you go on our TikTok, we actually have a video. I don't think it's pinned, but we did a video on math resources, and we have a website there that has a bunch of previous tests for advanced functions, grade 12 advanced functions. So if you go to that TikTok, they have a bunch of practice tests, and you can see what thinking questions might look like. And also, if you know any, like let's say you're in grade 12 right now taking advanced functions, if you know any upper years, if you could ask them if they have their old tests, maybe they can send it to you to practice. That would also be a great resource. Can we change courses after applying at universities? Yeah, so after you submit your OUAC application, like I said, you can like amend it or add more programs, but I believe there's a fee associated with it. And I think there's a deadline as well, so yeah. It feels like it's so stupid to pay to apply to schools. Agreed. But yeah, just make sure you fulfill the prereqs for your program, and you can find the prereqs either on My Blueprint or directly on their website, which is usually more accurate, and especially for newer programs, their website is the way to go. Yeah, data, a lot of people say data is a bird course, but it's usually not. So I would be wary of like the advice you hear from students on like what bird courses are. So yeah, we have 2 minutes left to the live, and that's going to be it for the night. And then again, make sure to follow us on TikTok and follow us on Instagram to stay updated for, when we do our next live, which will hopefully be within 1 to 2 weeks. Thank you guys. It's always a pleasure to do these. And if we didn't answer any of your questions, we did our best to get to all of them in time. But if not, we have on our website, projectuni.net, we have like chat advisors that are there 24/7 to help you. They usually get back to you within a few minutes. So if you go to the website, there's a little like chat box in the corner that'll like prompt you to ask a question if you have one. You can just ask your question there and we'll get back to you. Yeah. Last question. What's an average booster course I can take? We have 3 TikTok videos on this. So if you scroll down, we have a bunch of videos on like what are generally like bird courses for grade 11, bird courses for grade 12. So yeah, I'd recommend checking those out. So yeah, have a good night, everyone. And as always, like, do your best, but don't feel stressed out. At the end of the day, you will like go to the university that you're meant to go to. And as always, we're always here to help with scholarship, university advice, Ouck, anything. You can follow our TikTok, go to our website, and we'll always be uploading content to help you guys. So yeah, have a good night, everyone.